Osimpam 95.5, Instagram at Osimpam 95.5 FM, Facebook at Osimpam 95.5 FM, and you can get us up on YouTube. If you're just tuning in, this is Osimpam 95.5 FM. And our official social media handles: Twitter at Osimpam 95.5 FM, Instagram at Osimpam 95.5 FM, Facebook at Osimpam 95.5 FM, YouTube at Osimpam TV. And this is powered by Nay, our blogger at Osimpam 95.5 FM. And also we have idioms today, and our story reading. So we'll not waste much time. I'll quickly go to Studio B, and my club members already seated and will shortly introduce themselves once again, in case you've forgotten their names. So good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you all doing?
We are fine.
And how was your weekend?
Very good.
Great. So quickly, you introduce yourself from the side.
My name is Lazy Evans.
Okay.
Josephina is here.
Naomi Kujo. Evelyn
Helenata.
Pascaline Oso.
Pascaline Isel. You're most welcome once again to Osimpam 95.5 FM. So we'll start with idioms. Do you have your papers in front of you?
Yes, please.
This is not a competition. This is just to make you know that you understand what idioms and expressions are. Okay. So quickly we go to darken one's door.
Pay a visit to one's house.
Pay a visit to one's house. And then easier said than done.
Easier to talk about than to do.
Okay, and then can't make head or tail of.
Can't understand at all.
Can't understand at all. Bend the candle at both ends. Bend the candle.
Overdo work and play.
Very good. And then by any means. By any means.
In any way possible.
In any way possible. Beat about the bush. Beat about.
Approach a matter in an indirect manner.
Again.
Approach a matter in an indirect manner.
Approach a matter in an indirect manner. Okay. Okay, you girls want to challenge me. You know that. A storm in a cup of tea. Okay. Again.
Much excitement about something small.
Much excitement about something small. A hard nut to crack.
A difficult problem.
A difficult problem. Open your mouth and say it well. Okay? That's why we are doing this. A chip of the old block.
Very like
Very like the father. Very like the father. Okay. A good Samaritan.
One who is kind and
Okay, just one I got.
One
Sorry.
who is kind and compassionate to someone in distress.
In distress. Sorry, you're not feeling well. Okay. A skeleton in the cupboard.
a
A dreadful
family secret.
A dreadful family secret. We all have our family secrets, okay? Okay, and then a white elephant. A white elephant.
Something useless and expensive to keep.
Something useless and expensive to keep. Sometimes we have something very expensive but we don't have. Hello, welcome. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Right. Your name quickly and then.
My name is Ikonen Richardson.
You're welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, we go ahead. At a loose end.
Having nothing interesting to do.
Having nothing interesting to do. Okay, so quickly we go to etiquettes and table manners. When you say etiquettes, when take your time, okay? When we say etiquette, yes, Elena.
It refers to the formal manners and rules observed on the table while eating.
While eating, again, yes, Josephina.
Table manners are the rules of etiquette that are used while eating.
Yes.
Table etiquette refers to the action or manners that are considered appropriate at a table.
Okay, ZA.
Etiquette is the customary code of polite behavior in the society.
In the society.
Table etiquette refers to the proper manners and behavior in a formal dining situation.
Don't look at the TV. We are not here for that. Okay, so any other understanding? Etiquette and table manners. What are the don'ts and do's, or do's and don'ts at a table, at a dining table, or
Do's.
what are
Do
some of-
not put too much food in mouth.
in your mouth? Do not put too much food in your mouth.
Don't shout.
Don't shout at a table.
Yeah.
Do not talk when there is food in your mouth.
Do not talk when there is food in your mouth.
Eat slowly and quietly.
Eat slowly and quietly. Sometimes you can hear people eating. Yeah, it's not
Be
good.
on time for meals.
Be on time for meals.
Do not stuff your mouth full with food.
Do not stuff your mouth full with food.
Don't concentrate with your phone.
Don't concentrate on your phone during.
Use utensils and napkins.
Use utensils and napkin table. Okay. Do you want to say something? Yeah.
Do not pick your nose while eating.
Do not pick your nose whilst eating. Yes.
Do not eat until everyone is served.
Do not eat until everyone is served.
Don't make
Always say
up.
thank you when the food is being served.
Always say thank you when the food is being served.
Close your mouth while chewing.
Close your mouth
Do
while
research
chewing.
across other people's plates or to pick salt or fish.
Do what? Say it again.
Do research.
Okay, let's go ahead. Yes, any other?
Chew with your mouth closed.
Chew with your mouth closed.
Listen before you ask.
Listen before you ask.
Yeah.
Sit up and do not hunch over your plate.
Sit up and do not hang over your plate.
Compliment or
Hunch over your plate, yeah.
compliment the food. Hey,
Compliment the food.
yes.
Okay.
A compliment means
You want to say
remark
more?
that express praise.
Take your time. And people are listening to us.
Speak with kindness.
Kindness.
Yes.
Do not put cutlery set on the table after having meal.
Do not put cutlery on.
Proper use of cutlery.
Cutlery. Cutlery.
Cutlery.
Say it. Cutlery.
Cutlery.
What are cutlery? What is it?
They are
Knives.
They are a
They are the knives and the forks.
and spoons. Yeah.
Ask someone to pass items to you instead of stretching to reach them.
To reach there. Okay. Yes. ZA. Any more?
We shouldn't talk much at the table, and even when we talk, we should talk about pleasant things.
Okay.
Don't put your bag on the floor or on the table.
Don't put your bag on the table. It will occupy some space.
And respect your bag too.
So what do you do with your bag?
You have to put your bag beside you.
Beside you.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't sneeze whilst eating.
Don't sneeze whilst eating. But if in case by mistake, then you have to use your hand to save it.
Don't.
Okay.
If somebody is eating, don't say excuse. I'm going to the washroom. You make that person feel wrong, even though that person will not eat the food. Yeah.
The person
Close it to the person.
will lose appetite.
Say, excuse me.
Excuse me, and you just go. Okay. And then what else?
Do not pick anything from your mouth. it is uncivilized. If it bothers you, you must go to the restroom to eat.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to do anything that will make somebody lose appetite. Okay? When you are eating in public or even in the house at your table. Yes. Any more? Any more? Yes, Zee.
In Ghana, we eat most dishes with our hands, our
Yes.
fingers. And when we are doing so, we are not supposed to lick our fingers.
You're not supposed to lick, but sometimes people say that licking the fingers make the food delicious. Some people, you see them licking their fingers. Is that all right? But you don't have to do it. Yes. What else?
Never blow cold hair in hot food.
In hot food, yes. People don't know about that. They want the food to go cold, so they start blowing. Yeah, it's not good. Yes. Anything else? Anything else? You don't. Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes too, we eat local dishes, family dishes. We eat them together. When we are eating, we must only eat from the portion in front of
In
us.
front of you. You don't have to go to somebody's portion. Yes. What else? What else? What else? What else? Yes.
Don't do makeup when you are eating.
On the dining. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Yes.
Talking or texting on phones.
Yes. When people you are all eating and you are busy on your phone or talking on the phone, is very uncivilized. Okay. When you are eating, you have to finish eating before. Yes. Any other? Any other? Yeah. Any other?
We should pace ourselves with fellow diners when eating. Like, we shouldn't rush. We should all eat in the same pace.
At the same pace. Yeah. And if you finish eating, you don't have to get up and go. You have to wait for everybody to finish before you get up. Okay? Any more ethics and table manners? That is what we are looking at today. Okay, if you just tuned in, this is Osimpam 95.5 FM, and the program is Youth Paradise. And today we're talking about ethics and table manners. Ethics. Ethics. Who can spell it? Ethics.
Ethics. Eat.
I'm Jesus. Yes.
ETIQUETTES.
Very good. Ethics. Ethics. It can be ethics or ethic. Okay? Alright. So, we'll come back after this music and then we'll have our story reading. Important. You all have the important.
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You have the important. Okay. We quickly look at this. And then what? Important and what?
Types of table set.
Types. Oh, we won't do the types today. Hey, it's a long game. Leprechauns put in anyway. Leprechaun into Save us, oh save us, oh save us, oh save us, so you're our future leaders. We are still on Osimpam 95.5 FM, the radio for the people, the radio for Ifutu. In case you are in Winneba and you want an accommodation, you can go to Joe Esibu Logistics and Trading Limited. Dealers in rent or buy affordable houses from 1 bedroom, 3 bedrooms to 2-bedroom, and more. You can locate us between Janjanazi and Jazzy. Our contact numbers are 020-972-2355 or 054-808-6749. Now everybody wants a civilized place to be. And I can say on authority that building estate in an estate, you have everything there. Have your supermarket. Security is tight. So you can be sure of that. So when we come to Groovy Trading Enterprise, dealers in all kinds of phones and accessories, and flat TVs as well, 65 inches, 43 inches, 40 inches, 32 and 28, 26 inches. All kinds of refrigerators, deep freezers, tabletop freezers, displayed fridges, double decker fridges, air conditioners and air cooler fans, ceiling and standing fans, protect fans which do not rust, microwave oven, fufu machine, rice cooker for commercial and student use, air fryers, home theater, all kinds of sound systems for parties, funerals, and church use. You can contact us on 020-784-1244 or 0244-789-934. Our location at Winneba Town Hall Junction. So we look at the importance of table manners. What are some of the importance of table manners?
To show that we are disciplined.
Yes, to show that we are disciplined. And then?
It gives a good impression about us.
It gives good impression about us.
To avoid indigestion.
To avoid indigestion.
It promotes an
You are looking
enjoyable meal time.
enjoyable. Okay.
It encourages a cheerful conversation.
It encourages a cheerful conversation.
It prevents dinner from being confused or sloppy.
Okay. What else?
So that we do not disgrace ourselves.
We don't disgrace ourselves.
It shows that we have a good upbringing and we are civilized people.
Exactly.
So that we do not offend anyone.
We offend anyone.
It makes one confident and flexible in a formal banquet.
It makes you confident
And flexible in a formal banquet.
Okay. What else? Pascaline, what are some of the importance? Yes. Oh, but no.
It is a sign of showing respect to the cooks.
It is a sign of showing respect to the cook. When you compliment, when you say, oh, your food is nice and all that. Okay. Any other? Josephina, any other?
It brings honor to the person.
Bring honor to the chef, especially when you go to restaurants and you compliment. Even in the house, when your mom cooks for you and you say thank you, it was good. Okay? Yes, ZA?
It shows that we are well cultured.
We are well cultured. Yeah, so you have to behave well at a table. So I promise you lunch one of these days when we go to a restaurant and we use cutlery set and I see if you guys are really putting what we are doing here into practice. Is that okay? Okay, so any other? Then we go quickly to our story reading. We have very little time. So, do we go ahead with our story reading? Okay, so we'll come back after this and then we have our story reading. But if you want to have DS TV Deco, Go TV, Strong Deco, Multi TV, Quality Deco TV, and Antenna, and all that you have to do is to go to Big Joe Assurance, wall mount, e-guard, fridge, and television, both in retailing and wholesaling. Locates Big Joe at Roman Catholic Church Central. You can contact us 0244255052. Okay, so we're still on the Osimpam 95.5 FM, and the program is Youth Paradise, the radio for people, the radio for Ifut. So, Zia, what is the topic of the story today?
Snow White and Rose Red.
Snow White and
Rose Red.
Okay. Is it a fairy tale?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Once there were two sisters, Snow White and Rose Red. They were named for the rose trees that grew in their garden, one as fair as Snow White's skin, the other with soft red petals that matched the blooming Rose Red's cheeks. Their sisters were as different as night and day. Snow White loved to stay inside and read by the fire. She could weave baskets from rushes and carve creatures from wood. Rose Red was the happiest, roaming the forest outside their home. She was as nimble as a deer and as swift as a bird. In summer, she collected wild berries and herbs and dreamed of adventure in far-flung lands. But even though the sisters were so different, they loved each other very much. Every night, their mother would say, "Lock the door, children," and they would curl up by the fire and their mother would open a book and begin, once upon a time. She told them stories of brave princesses and fire-breathing dragons, of glass mountains and marble palaces, with turrets that touched the sky. "One day I'll go on an adventure," Rose Red would say, "and I'll stay at home with your mother," Snow White would add. Then one night, in deepest winter, when the snow lay thick upon the ground, there came a knock, knock, knock at the door. "Quick, open the door, children," said their mother. "There must be a stranger out in the snow. They will be half frozen to death, for the wind is howling down from the mountains and the air is bitterly cold." Rose Red hurried to the door, but when she opened it, she cried out. For them more than twice her size, tall, sharp-clawed, with huge dark eyes, was a bear. "Do not be afraid," said the bear in a low, growling voice. "I will not hurt you. I have come only to seek shelter from the cold," he explained. Rose Red froze for a moment in surprise. Snow White darted behind a chair, but their mother came forward with outstretched hands. Come in," she said. "Warm yourself by our fire." The bear dropped to all fours and padded inside. Crash went the table and down fell the chairs. His body seemed enormous in the little cottage, his breath as loud as the wind. The two girls looked at each other and gasped. "You are letting him in, mother?" they asked. "All strangers are welcome here," their mother replied. "Besides, I do not think he is as fearsome as he seems." At first, the girls were doubtful, but the bear's expression was so gentle and his eyes were so sad that Snow White and Rose Red soon lost any fear. Rose Red fetched the broom and brushed the snow from his fur. Snow White covered him with a warm blanket. "Thank you," said the bear. Then he lay down by the fire and closed his eyes. The mother went on with her story. Soon the cottage was filled with the bear's deep rumbling snores. He slept all night by the fire. In the morning, Snow White unbolted the door and with a growly thank you, the bear padded outside, his great dark body stuck against the snow. Do you think he'll come back? The girls asked their mother. How can he talk? Is he enchanted? Or under a wicked spell? Hush now, said their mother smiling. If the bear does return, you must take care not to ask him any questions. He will tell us what he wants us to know. All day, the sisters hoped for the bear's return, and as night fell, they were rewarded. Just as they were settling down to read by the fire, there came again a knock, knock, knock at the door. When Rose Red rushed to open it, there was the bear standing on his hind legs, his great heavy head peering into the cottage. After that came every night all through the snowy winter and into the spring. Rose Red and Snow White loved to ride on his back. They tickled the soft fur on his stomach and stroked his great head when he slept by the fire. But as spring turned to summer, the bear sighed and said, "This is the last time you see me. I will not return tonight. I must go to the forest and stay there until winter comes." "But why?" said Rose Red. "Oh, please don't leave," I begged Snow White. "I have no choice," the bear replied. "Long ago, a wicked creature stole everything that was precious to me, and then put me under a curse. In winter, the creature hides in the ground, but in summer he returns to the forest. Every year I try to find him to see if I can take back what is mine and break the curse. I cannot tell you anymore or the curse will last forever." Snow White and Rose Red rushed over to hug the bear and stroke his great head one last time. "Thank you for looking after me," said the bear, "and for keeping me warm through the winter. Your kindness has warmed my heart." With those words, the bear bounded through the little door of their cottage. As he went, his fur caught on the door and tore. Snow White was sure she saw a sudden flash of gold, bright and shining. The next moment, he was gone. That night, the cottage seemed empty without him, and as 1 week passed and then another, Snow White, Rose Red, and their mother all spoke of how much they missed the bear. His rambling voice, his warmth, his sad black eyes, those Snow White missed him most of all. "I wish we could help him," she said to Rose Red one day. "Perhaps we can," Rose Red replied. "Let's go into the forest and see if we can find him." "May we, mother?" asked Snow White. Their mother looked up from her sewing with a sigh. "We must do what is right," she said, "but stay together and keep safe. Light a fire tonight to keep away the wolves. If you are not back in 3 days, I shall come looking for you." At once, the girls packed their bags. They took clothes to cover themselves at night, a rod to catch fish, and a tinder box to light a fire. "A real adventure at last," said Rose Red. They hugged their mother goodbye and set out into the forest. They walked all day along winding paths. Just as the sun was starting to set, they rounded a corner to the sharp cry of, "Help me, help me." The sisters ran forward and there was a little goblin. His beard tangled in brambles. He was jumping up and down, squawking and shrieking, his face red with exertion and rage. "Well, don't just stand there," shouted the goblin. "Do something." Rose Red reached into her pocket and pulled out a pair of scissors. Snip, snip, snip she went, the silvery blades flashing in the sun. Half of the goblin's beard floated away on the wind like thistledown, until at last he was free. "You fool!" cried the goblin. "You imbecile! That was the best part of my beard. I didn't ask you to cut it, did I?" As he spoke, he bent down and snatched up a sack by his feet. Rose Red thought she saw a flash of gold, but then the goblin swung the sack over his shoulder and strode away muttering, "My poor, poor beard. Those silly, foolish girls." "Well," huffed Rose Red with her hands on her hips, watching him go. "Of all the ungrateful, I know others Snow White. He didn't even say thank you. He didn't deserve our help," said Rose Red. "We should have left him there, jumping up and down like an angry grasshopper." The girls laughed and walked on a little way, but by now darkness was beginning to settle over the forest. Let's find somewhere safe to sleep, suggested Snow White. I don't think I can walk any further. Rose Red led them to a sandy bank beneath the branches of a great oak tree. We can rest here for the night, she said. I'll make a fire to keep the wolves away. When the fire was lit, they sat down and covered themselves with their clothes. Snow White handed out the bread and cheese they had brought from home, and told stories while Rose Red gazed up at the shining stars and the round white moon. Then at last, Snow White fell silent and they curled up together and slept. Dawn broke clear and bright above them. Rose Red stood and listened to the wind. Then she pointed west. I can hear the rushing of a river, she said. Let's go and wash and then catch a fish for our breakfast. They followed the sound until they came to the banks of a wide river. But there was the little goblin, pulling and tugging, muttering and mumbling, his beard caught in the twine of his fishing line. Oh, Jiminy Fidgety Jiddy Cricket, he muttered to himself. Then he looked up. Not it too again, he stormed. Well, you have to do. Untangle me. Come on, what are you waiting for? Aren't you going to help? Rose Red darted forward with his scissors and with a snip, 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 the goblin was free once more. You fiend, cried the goblin, shaking his fist at them. You've cut more of my beard, my beautiful beard. Then he reached down to grab the sack at his feet, before swinging it over his shoulder. Fools, he said as he hurried away. Don't you dare come near my bed again, or you'll be sorry. Ruder and ruder, said Snow White, watching him go. We should have left him by the river, leaping about like a salmon. Laughing together, the girls went down to the river to wash. Rose Red caught a fish for their breakfast, which they cooked over a little fire. They spent the day wandering the forest path. That night, Rose Red lit another fire and the sisters lay down to sleep on a bed of ferns. We've been gone for 2 days now, said Rose Red, wrapping herself in her cloak. And we are running out of food, said Snow White. Do you think we'll ever find a bear? Do you want to go back? Asked Rose Red. But Snow White shook her head. We must find him, she said. He's in trouble, I feel it. The next morning, they woke with the sun and feasted on nuts and berries. Rose Red found wood sorrow for them to eat, growing in clumps on the forest floor. Then they gathered their things and walked deeper in the forest. The oaks and birches gave way to spiky pine trees, their trunks growing tall and straight and tightly packed together. The air was cooler here and darker, and the soft needles on the ground seemed to shift beneath their feet. There was a little stream, and beyond it a clearing. High ahead, they could see an eagle, circling and calling on outstretched wings. Suddenly, the eagle plunged down and there came a sharp cry. Snow White and Rose Red ran toward the sound and gasped. The eagle had caught the goblin by the shoulders and was gripping him with its talons. It flapped its wings again and again, desperately trying to carry the goblin away. Help me, screeched the goblin, real terror in his voice. Why aren't you helping me, you dithering fools? The eagle flapped its wings again, this time lifting up the goblin higher and higher, until his feet were dangling just above their heads. What are you waiting for? Cried the goblin. At once, Rose Red leaped up and grabbed the goblin by the foot, but still the eagle wouldn't let go. Snow White took hold of the other foot, and for a moment, all three were lifted off the ground. The sisters tugged and held on at last. With a final screech, the eagle released its grip and they all came tumbling to earth. The goblin got to his feet first, huffing and puffing and brushing himself down. What were you doing, tugging on me like that? He complained. You are so clumsy, both of you. He scowled at them, then looked around for his sack, which was lying close by. He checked it carefully, and Rose Red saw it was now full to the brim with gold and jewels. I hope I never have the misfortune to meet you again, said the ungrateful goblin, turning to go. But before Rose Red could answer back, a growl rang through the trees. Both Rose Red and Snow White turned, but neither felt afraid. Stop him, called a familiar voice. Don't let him get away. Over the ridge came the bear, just visible between the trees. For a moment, the goblin froze, then he grabbed his sack and started to run. The sisters chased him, but the goblin was too quick, darting this way and that, his breath coming in quick pants. Behind them, they could hear the bear, his heavy feet pounding the forest floor. At last, Rose Red lunged forward and caught the goblin by his silvery beard. The goblin let out a cry, pulling and tugging, kicking and fighting. But Rose Red refused to let go. "Release me, you fool," cried the goblin, "or I'll make you regret it. No one crosses a goblin and gets away with it." But Rose Red clung on, and moments later the bear reached them. He rose up onto his hind legs, towering above them, his great paws raised. "Give me back my treasure," he growled at the goblin, "and I'll let you go free." With trembling hands, the goblin flung his sack to the ground. "I always feared you'd catch up with me one day," he said. Then he spun around and fled into the forest. The bear dropped to all fours. He thrust his paw into the sack and pulled out a golden cloak. "At last," he said, and turned to the girls. "Close your eyes," he commanded, "and look away until I say." Snow White and Rose Red did as he asked, covering their eyes with their hands. There followed a blinding flash of light. "It's safe to look now," came the voice again, only it was less growly than before. The girls opened their eyes to find the bear had vanished. In his place stood the prince, dressed in gleaming gold, his cloak billowing behind him. "What happened?" asked Snow White. "Was it the goblin? Was he the evil creature who put you under a curse?" The prince nodded. "Many years ago, the goblin stole my treasure. Then he turned me into a bear and trapped me in the forest. The only way to break the curse was to find the goblin and take back my golden cloak. For many years I have lived alone," the prince went on, "until that coldest of winters, when your family took me in. And now you have helped me catch the goblin. Without you, I never would have won back my human form." The prince and the sisters walked through the forest to their cottage. The sisters kept glancing at the prince, as if they couldn't believe that this was their bear transformed. When at last they reached home, their mother came rushing out to greet them. She threw her arms around her daughters. "I'm so glad to have you back," she said. "A moment longer and I should have come looking for you." She turned to the prince, looking deep into his large dark eyes. "Do you recognize me?" he asked. "I do," said the mother, smiling, and the prince told her his story. "In return for your kindness," he said, "I'd like you to come and stay in my palace for a while." "Oh, may we?" asked Snow White, looking to her mother. "Of course," her mother replied. The prince left that day, promising to send for them as soon as he reached his home. And the next morning, true to his word, a royal carriage arrived with 4 white horses, tossing their heads, and a coachman to drive them. The years passed. Snow White and Rose Red went often to visit the prince at his palace. In time, Snow White and the prince fell deeply in love and decided to marry. Princes came to the wedding from all over the kingdom, and many asked for Rose Red's hand in marriage, but to each one she said no. After the wedding, she said to her mother and sister, "It's time for me to go. Your home is here at the palace, but I still long to explore." "Are you sure you won't stay?" asked Snow White, tears in her eyes. Rose Red shook her head and hugged them both goodbye. Then she walked out of the palace and into her life for adventure. For all we know, she is still exploring.
The end of the story. So, what are some of the morals that you learned during the reading of the story? All of you, and then new words. Did you learn any new words?
Yes.
Okay.
The moral first.
The new ones.
Yes.
Treasure.
Treasure. Okay.
Collection of gold and silver, jewelry, etc.
Okay. Then what again?
Padding. Filled or covered with soft material for the purpose of protection, comfortable or to hard shape.
Okay. What else?
Flattered.
Flat.
Stay on the surface of a liquid or up in the air.
Wrong. Walking or tired Trouble about with no clear purpose.
Okay, so
Grumble.
crumbled, yes.
To whine.
To wine.
Or crumbled, come together to form a tiny group.
Okay, then what else?
Trouble.
Trouble,
Difficult or problem.
difficult or problem. Is it the first time you are hearing trouble? Okay, what else?
Crawl, crawl,
Huh? Crumble.
crawl is a device like a claw for gripping and lifting.
Okay.
Gleaming.
Gleaming.
Something shining as a narrow line which comes and goes.
Yes.
Hoofing and poofing, they are different in air. Poofing is a bad mood, especially because somebody has upset you.
Upset you.
Whilst poofing, smoke, a pipe, cigarette, etc.
Okay.
Prowling.
Crawling, yeah.
Move about carefully and quietly in search of prey.
Okay, like a spider. Crawling.
Prowling.
Prowling, okay. Yes.
Globing.
Yeah.
Globing.
Globing.
A colorless protein obtained by removal of ends from a conjugated protein and especially hemoglobin.
Yes.
Cloak, type of loose coat that has no sleeves and fasten at the neck.
Okay. So, yes.
Imbecile.
Imbecile, yeah.
A word for describing a stupid person.
A word for describing a stupid person. Yes, what else? Yeah? Crude. Yes.
Form of case to form into a covered or
Yes.
Cottage, small house, especially in the country.
Countryside. Yes. Small cottage.
Rumbling, deep, heavy, continuous sound.
Okay. What else?
shelter.
Shelter. Yes.
Fact of having a place to live or stay.
Yeah. So somebody gave you a shelter. Hmm? Okay. What else? Okay, now we have this book for you. Today you're not going to get refreshments. We are going to get a book and then a socks for yourself. You put on those socks to school. Okay. And this book, we have lots of things we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss caring for the environment, and then obeying rules, and showing respect and care for others, and respecting yourself. Do you know you have to respect yourself?
Yes.
Okay, and solving problems peacefully. And then we have courage. You have to be courageous. When we say somebody is courageous, what is the meaning? Who is a courageous person? Yes, who is a courageous person? Who is a courageous person?
A brave person.
A brave. Okay, so they are driving us out. You see, when they use our time, they don't care. So you're going to have, each one of you is going to have one of these books. This is how our program is going to be like. So you have it. Okay, thanks so much for coming. Next week we'll continue with the program Youth Paradise. They're already driving us away from the studios of Osimpam. You Ifutu Parliament listeners, wait for me. I give the socks to you. Right, thank you. It's just on time. Take some of the chairs out. Coffee writer. Why?
Oh, right, good. Where camera? That's great. That's great. Okay.
Okay.